Okay, so let's look at this think, pair, share that's modeled off the previous example and the steps for graphing an inequality in two variables. So this is the inequality. So first of all, notice that it is not in like a slope-intercept type of form. So you're going to have to manipulate this to get this into a slope-intercept form first before you go about graphing it. So go ahead and pause the video at this point and give this a try, and we'll resume here in a moment. Okay, so let's take a look at the solution. So right away, if you look at my graph and you compare that with yours, maybe they don't match up as far as the shaded area. And so let's kind of see where maybe that would have come from. So here's the original inequality that we started with. And in the process of getting this so that it's kind of like in this y equals mx plus b form, like the slope-intercept form, at one point we had to divide both sides by a -2. And what's the rule when you multiply or divide by a negative when it comes to inequalities? Well, you've got to flip the signs. Okay. So in this step, when we divided by a -2, we had to change this less than to be a greater than and work with that. All right. So this becomes the kind of slope intercept form of the inequality that we started with. And so we've got a slope of +1/2, a y-intercept of -2.5. And so we now find our boundary line. All right, so we find our boundary line. Our boundary line is going to be this inequality, but we're going to make it equals. And because we're dealing with a greater than, our boundary line is going to be dashed, indicating that solutions on, or actually points on the line, are not solutions. Okay, so I went ahead and put my y-intercept of -2.5. That was right here. And then I did a rise and run of one, a rise of 1 and a run of 2 to make these other points. Now, I made these points open circles because it doesn't include, the solution isn't included in that point. It's on the line. And then I noticed that 0, 0 is not on the boundary line. So that's a good point to use. And so I put 0 in for y, 0 in for x, and I was left with this inequality. And 0 is greater than -5/2. That's true. So therefore, 0, 0 is a solution. And if 0, 0 is a solution on that side of the boundary line, then so is everything else on that side of the boundary line. Let me know if you have any questions.